Hi guys, Dr. Mel here. We're busy with intermolecular forces and we're going to have a look at the types of intermolecular forces. There's different types between different molecules. So let's have a look. We said we know now when is something polar, negative and positive, or non-polar. Now let's establish which forces we have, and we're going to start off with the ions. So what happens, in the periodic table, you can form positive ions on the left-hand side with the metals, and you can form negative ions with the non-metals on that side. So what happens if I've got a intermolecular force and I've got ions? So firstly, between molecules that we see, and we know it's in between molecules. Please bear in mind that the intermolecule is weaker than the one inside the molecule. That we know. Inside, you've got to have lots of force to break it. But outside, it's a weaker force. Right, let's try the ions. There can be two types where an ion is involved. Firstly, an ion and a dipole. So it's an ion which is already positive or negative, and now I'm bringing it near something that's a dipole. Now a dipole will have a negative and a slightly positive side. Now you can visualize what will happen if I bring this dipole near a positive or a negative ion. Now let's quickly have a look at that. I've got the positive sodium and I'm bringing along a water. Now because water has two hydrogens and the electron negativity has a difference. This is a little bit of revision. You've got a slightly negative side there and a slightly positive side here. So it's this side here that's positive. I've got a positive sodium. So this side positive and this positive will repel each other. And this whole water will turn around, and you will find then that you've got the oxygen with a slightly negative this side, with the hydrogens on the other side that's positive. And can you see what this negative does? It will be attracted to this positive, exactly like this diagram is showing you. Can you think what will happen if I've got KMnO4, potassium permanganate, with CHCl3? So I've got CH, a ClClCl. You can now already establish that this side is going to be the negative side. That side will be the positive side. So it's the dipole, and I'm bringing nearer the potassium or the permanganate. And what do you see is going to happen? Well, it's quite obvious that this plus and this minus will be adjacent to each other, and this negative will be adjacent. So it'll actually flip and turn around so that you've got the positive ion with the negative side, or you've got the negative ion, and the positive, slightly positive side. You'll always find it orientates itself. The second ion that you have to know is what is going to happen if I have an ion with a non-polar molecule. Now, what will happen if I bring a sodium near anything that's non-polar? And we can, for instance, have a molecule that's like that. It's got on the outside a positive side, but the negative is inside here. So interesting, this positive, very positive ion will induce a charge on this non-polar effect. What will it do? It's positive. It will draw the electrons to this side very temporarily. It will draw it there, and it will be a very, very weak bond. But the negative and the positive will be in a time span of milliseconds, they will attract. And as soon as these negative electrons move away again, they will break. So it will be an induce, a putting in of a charge. Let me quickly ask you, can you think what will happen if I put, let's say for instance, a chlorine there, which is negative? The same will happen with the electrons. It will gather that side, the positive will be this side, and it will then bind very temporarily. So that was the two with the ions. It's a strong attraction. Why is it strong? Because it's got a permanent charge. It's a large permanent charge, either positive or negative, and we know about Coulomb forces. Let's do the second section of intermolecular forces, and it's named after Johannes van der Waal. He did a lot of work with van der Waal's forces. It's weaker, it's also Coulomb, and it's actually because there's a dipole. And you remember, we write a dipole slightly positive and slightly negative. Three types of van der Waal's forces you'll have to know. The first one is the hydrogen bond. It says to you what it is. It's hydrogen. So we'll see just now that it's a very special type of dipole. Then it's just one dipole and another dipole. And then what's happening with non-polar molecules, and that's where it's the induced dipole. Let's start off with the hydrogen. Very specific. Hydrogen with only 3 atoms. It's only those 3 that will form a hydrogen bond. Not hydrogen with Cl, not hydrogen with, say, for instance, carbon. That specifically is hydrogen with nitrogen, hydrogen with oxygen, hydrogen with fluorine. Now, why is that so important? Well, the electronegativity of these 3 gives away the answer. I've got with nitrogen electronegativity of 3, with oxygen 3.5 and 4 here. This side I've got 2.1. So let's firstly establish where will the paired electrons be. Well, if it's nearer here, nearer there, this side will be slightly negative, slightly negative, slightly negative. What will remain on the hydrogen side? Remember, hydrogen only has 1 electron. Now, if that electron of hydrogen is more able to turn around and rotate here at nitrogen or at oxygen or at fluorine, it means there's only a nucleus left this side. So it's fairly strong on that side because it's a bare nucleus. And on the other hand, it's very small atoms, these 3. It's only the 2s, 2p, it's only these orbitals and energy levels that's involved. It's not a large atom. So in these 3 cases, we've got the hydrogen bond. Let's quickly have a look at it. It's a hydrogen and a nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. It's a very short distance between them. You can see there the minus and plus there. Can you see there? That's got to be the plus there. That's a plus and the minus. A plus and the minus. And it's a very strong bond. So firstly, we've covered now the hydrogen bond. It's a hydrogen with NOF, NOF. It's in your periodic table. Let's see the dipole. Now we know it's got a slightly positive and a slightly negative side. Sulfur will have an electronegativity of 2.5. 2.1 on each of the hydrogens. That'll mean a slight negative this side, a slight positive this side. And again on this side, slightly negative. So can you see the positive and negative there will be a dipole. It's polar and there is a difference in electronegativity, but it's much weaker than the hydrogen bond. And then we've got hydrogen here, 2.1, and chlorine, 3. And what will happen? The electrons will be this side and that side will be positive, and you can see exactly why there's a dipole-dipole bond. The last type of van der Waals force is where I have non-polar molecules, a H and a H. It's not polar, it's got no difference in electronegativity, it's exactly in the middle, and what happens at some or other special time, and it's timing actually, these two electrons might be this side. If they're there at that specific second or millisecond, it's negative there, it's positive there, and it will repel these electrons that way. This will be positive, and it's a very weak bond. Millisecond. Electrons here quickly, and there, and can you see positive here, negative there, and a slight attraction. Or even when the orientation of carbon dioxide is like that, we know this is negative, and at that stage it will push away the electrons, it will become slightly positive, and will form that non-polar intermolecular force. Now there's actually 3 names for this force. It's a dipole-induced, or a London force, or in some textbooks you can even see the word dispersion. Now dispersion means it's spreading around, it's spreading the charge. It's very temporary and it's very weak. So what do you have to know? You've got to know, I've got a hydrogen bond, NOF, with hydrogen. It's the strongest bond. The weakest bond is the one we just discussed, London or induced dipole. And the examiners like the word, and it's actually the more correct word, induced dipole. And then in the middle, we've got the dipole-dipole. Let's quickly have a look at the actually distribution of the charges when we show you a small simulation with the PhET program. And you can go to the PhET program and play around with the simulation. So guys, we can have a look at 2 or 3 atoms and even the real molecules to see the electron clouds, but let's have a look at 2 atoms. So what we have here is atom 1 and atom A and atom B, and you can actually choose the electronegativity. I'm going to put the electronegativity there, and can you see it is less or more pushing from the one to the other. So make that less, and you can see what's going to happen. It's partial charged, and look at that. Can you see there that small little squiggle? So if B has got a lesser electronegativity, the electrons will be more on the A side. Can you see it's negatively? And on the B side, I've got a positive side, which is that slightly positive, which means it is a dipole or a polar molecule. Let's have a look at the bond quality. Can you see there? It is stronger, it's more ionic, or it is more covalent. Can you see? You can play with this and try every one of these. Let's have a look if it's 3 molecules. Now remember, we did a lesson on the shapes of a molecule. Let's say the electronegativity of A is more or less there, and B is more or less there. And can you see how we are changing? Let's put B there, and let's put C there. Can you see there? It is changing. It is becoming more to the C side or less to the C side. I'm going to put the partial charges in there. Can you see if the pair of electrons move towards the C? I'm pulling it towards the C. It's being partially negative and positive at the top. Can you see there at the top with the B? Or moving towards the B will mean the side of C will be positive. Exactly the same will happen if I change atom A, and you can see the polarity is actually changing. Guys, it's important that you play a little bit around. Let's see what the real molecules can do. Can you see there? The slightly positive, slightly negative when I move the electronegativity. Go and play with this a little bit. Right, so you can go and play with electronegativity differences and see what is the influence on polarity. Just to summarize, we get in between molecules intermolecular forces. If there's an ion present, whether it's a positive or a negative ion, it will have an ion dipole or an ion-induced dipole force. The three van der Waals forces you've got to know. You firstly know the hydrogen. And can you recall what's the three elements that's bound to hydrogen to form a hydrogen bond? NOF. Then you have dipole-dipole, and between the non-polar molecules, you've got induced dipole forces or dispersion or London forces. Guys, you have to know which ones will be stronger. The hydrogen bonds will be stronger than the ones with the ions, which will be stronger than the dipole-dipole, which will be stronger than the London or the dipole induced. Remember, I can also have a dipole with an induced dipole. That's, for instance, when I have a dipole and I'm bringing it nearer to a neutral. And can you see what's going to happen here? This positive will attract the negative charges that side, and for a brief moment you'll have a bond there. Important that you know it goes from hydrogen to the London or induced dipole forces. We are going to apply it in the next lesson, and you'll see why is it so important. There's many tables. I found one of these in one of the textbooks. If you've got an iron and an iron, you've got Coulomb forces. If I've got an iron and a polar, it's ion dipole. We've done that. And there's the examples that we did. Dipole, it can be anything. And we also did H2S. Iron and non-polar, we did the iron. Polar and non-polar, and you can see all the different examples that you can do. Have a look at these, try them, take a piece of pen and see if you can draw what will be the difference in electronegativity, which side is positive, which side is negative, and which ones will attract each other. You have to know the difference between inside a molecule, and between molecules. You have to distinguish the difference between a hydrogen and a dipole, for instance. And you need to know the strength, which we just did. Remember, hydrogen will have the strongest bond, and then you have to know your sequence. The more you work with this, the better you will remember and be able to apply. Have a look at past papers and exercises and books, and then Science Clinic has excellent summaries, and it's free access. You can just seek it on the internet. Bye.